Hello, friends. Welcome to yet another interesting interview under the Career Guidance Initiative called the Pathfinders. The Pathfinders is a career guidance initiative brought to you by Viva Life Skills trainers and consultants. Today, we have with us a very accomplished professional investor who is also a trader in futures and options. And he's been in this field for more than 30 years. And that for us is Shantanu Marathe. Welcome, Shantanu, to this show. Thank you very
Hi.
much for being here with us.
Yeah, hi Anil. Thanks for having me here.
So, Shantanu Marathe is a mechanical engineer from the Institute of Benaras Hindu University and has a master's in management studies from Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies. He wears a parallel hat of that being a IT specialist. He has experience in the IT industry also since 1985. He worked as an information technology head in manufacturing and service industry. His areas of specialization include strategic use of IT for businesses, supply chain management, and enterprise applications. Now, very interestingly, Shantanu became, interested in stock markets, investing many years ago. It was the curiosity to explore new avenues that made it happen. Over the time, he educated himself and started investing it as a hobby. So let's begin with asking him the first question. So how did you get into all this, Shantanu?
Yeah, I think it's quite a surprise because for our generation, if you don't come from a business family,
Right.
the typical Gujarati, Marwadi, Sindhi family, then, even just saying stock market, is like, it's a big crime in our homes, It's taken as a gambling then and, people, our generation, the typical middle class did not understand that
Right.
it is an important part of the economic, progress of the country also.
Right.
You may or may not make money, that's different.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was difficult. I think I happened to, meet one of my Marwadi doctor friend once and, he had some book on the, how to invest or trade. So I
Right.
just took the book, got a photocopy of that and read it and made me interested. So
Okay.
also being in the IT field, I already had a computer at home from 1989 itself.
Okay.
So it was easy to do some, data entry in spreadsheets,
Right.
prices, and then,
Right.
I wrote my own program to graph the data. That
Right.
was more frankly IT work. But,
Right.
slowly became interested and, made money, lost money, made a lot of money, lost a lot of money.
Okay.
We'll
Right.
come to that as, when you get into
Right.
it as a profession, what happens. But yeah,
Right,
it was,
right,
I think, just a book I read some time ago that, 30
Right.
years ago, that made it.
Right. You know what? The common understanding of common people when you hear words like share market, the stock market, and the futures and options and trading,
Yeah.
it reminds me of the term called VUCA world. We all know that word, right? So VUCA stands for volatile, unpredictable, complex, and ambiguous. I think all these are the ingredients of what you do. So how does one navigate through this VUCA world? And I think it's an astronomical challenge. So firstly, can you just take us through, giving us the basic sense of what is the difference between investing and trading?
Okay. Like you said, it's a very ambiguous and volatile world, and frankly, you should get into this if you can live with uncertainty, as a
Right.
mental makeup, I will say.
Yeah.
If you are not, if you want a life where everything is given and told to you and exactly happens, which actually does not happen in life also.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But if you want to have a steady job where, after certain number of years you get a promotion and at the age of certain, maybe 60, you retire. If you want a very steady life, I think this field is not for those, It's not for faint-hearted because, you could lose maybe lakhs or millions in a second. So
Right.
you may not. Let's hope you don't. But,
Yeah.
actually, if you do anything long enough, the law of averages catch up. So someday you are going to lose. And badly.
Right.
So it is, you need a mental makeup which allows you to, live with uncertainty enjoy that uncertainty, you know.
Enjoy that answer. Yeah, that is more
Have a
important.
passion
Yeah.
for the uncertainty. And
Right.
every time you do a trade, you should be able to tell yourself that this
Right.
trade may make profit for me or may make a loss, and
Right.
still go and sleep a peaceful night. So,
Right. Right. Right.
so if you can do all that, maybe it's worth trying it. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So that
Right.
is what
That
it
is
is.
true.
Yeah.
Right. No. So what
Yeah.
essentially is the difference between
Yeah. We'll come
investing
to
and
that.
trading? Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
come to that. I'll come to that.
Right.
See, investing is typically what, you know, in fact, most people who are, let's say, working or having some other business, you know, you could be having your own small scale industry, you could be a CEO or a programmer or, you know, a middle level manager in a company. So what you do is, you know, uh, over, since our generation, things have changed, you know, so people have realized that you could grow your money more than a fixed deposit in a bank, okay,
Mm.
or something else, you know. So people have started, let's say, investing in the stock market, either in primary issues or in secondary market, either themselves or through mutual funds. Okay. So in investing, the whole difference between trading and investing is the frequency. In investing,
I see. Okay.
normally you buy and forget. I mean, forget for maybe at least maybe 6 months, a year, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years.
Right.
So typically what you mean by investment is, you know, you bought Infosys in 95. You know,
Mm.
let's say you spent 10,000 rupees, you know, and by 2021 you are a millionaire.
Right.
Now
Right.
that is typically what an investor looks for. It's something like
Yeah.
multi-baggers, you know, you buy something which will grow multifold over time.
Over time. Yeah.
Over time. And you don't go in and out. I mean, you don't keep buying Infosys and sell. Now do you look at newspaper every day to know Infosys price?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that is typical investment. In fact, it's a Warren Buffett way. Most people have heard
Right.
of Warren Buffett. Of course,
Yes.
Warren Buffett
Yes.
also sells the investment when he knows it's not worth it. Many of us
Right.
may not be able to do that.
Right.
So it's easy to say Warren Buffett way. Most times we follow a non-active, non-bothered way. Let's not call it Warren Buffett way. But
Right.
that is
Right.
investing. Now,
Right.
trading is a much higher frequency game. So, for
Right.
example, I might buy an Infosys future yesterday.
Right.
I might have made or lost lot of money, and I'm out of it today.
Oh, I
Okay,
see.
I maybe, you know, even with the Infosys future for maybe a couple of months. Depends on, you know,
Yeah.
what class of investor or trader you are. Like a large,
Right.
you know, large house like, you know, a Morgan Stanley and all might be holding the position for much longer.
Right.
People
Right.
like you and me might be holding it for a few days, a week at the most.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that is investing versus trading. We'll come to what
Right.
futures option is little later. But
Right.
actually, I can trade even in shares, and I can buy Infosys yesterday and sell it tomorrow. You know,
So,
keep
so
getting in and out.
trading, I have one question. When you say trading, is it confined to shares? Hello?
No, you could be trading in commodities. I mean, you could be
Correct.
trading in,
So,
you could be trading in refrigerator and TVs also. I mean, that is what a retail business does, no?
right.
Yeah. So, I mean,
So,
anything that you buy and sell for a profit. I mean, the whole intention of buying is to sell it,
right.
not to keep it. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is it. So you can be buying or selling shares. You can be buying or selling, you know, bonds.
Mm-hmm.
There is no debt instruments. You could be
Right.
buying or selling government securities. Some of the
Right.
things you know, as a retail trader, you may not be able to do. You need a much larger investment for, you know, government treasuries and all. Okay.
Right.
You could be buying and selling exchange traded funds,
Right.
and you could be buying and selling commodities.
Right. So I suppose all these activities these days happens online. So are these all different platforms for different activities that you just described, or all of it is available on one single platform?
Typically, there are different, let's say, exchanges. You know, for commodities, there could be you know, a national commodity exchange, or let's say, you know, there could be a stock exchange, which is like NSE in India or BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange. Okay, there could be a futures, a forex trading market, which is
Right.
typically not exchange based. It's a distributed market. You know, most banks
Right.
and all might be dealing with each other like a network,
Right.
where you know
Right.
you could be buying and selling US dollars, let's say British pounds, euros, whatever. So there are a lot of trading happen. In fact, actually speaking, the foreign exchange market is the biggest. It is,
Okay.
many times the stock market. Even the commodity markets are also quite large.
Okay. Okay.
See, but what happens in commodity market, in forex market, it runs 24 hours.
Okay.
Suppose I buy
So these
something.
other markets don't run 24 hours?
No, I'll come to that. The forex market
Right.
typically runs 24 hours. So if I buy something, let's say at 6 o'clock today, or let's say 3 o'clock today, at 3 p.m. in the afternoon when the UK market opened. London is one of the biggest market for foreign exchange. Okay,
Right.
then comes New York. Okay. So if I buy something at 6 o'clock, by 9:30, I might be seeing good profit. Okay, and I might
Right.
go to sleep. Next day morning when I get up, I might be at a big loss.
Right. Right.
So, in fact, I tried that. In fact, I tried more also, because I learned a lot through that. You get to
Right.
trade much more frequently than in a stock market.
Right. Right.
So, but then I stopped doing that because, it's not worth it. And unless you can have your brother or sister or your son or somebody, sitting in New York and London. Typically, they say you should have 3 people. So, you can monitor the market.
Right. 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 So
So
you have to have
commodity
a
market,
monitoring mechanism. Yeah.
yeah.
All
The
right.
commodity markets are again, see, there's a difference. Commodity markets per se, even in US, might be opening and closing in the daytime. But there is a lot of derivatives markets. In fact, when we come to futures option, I'll tell you what that is. The
Right.
derivative markets might be on for a long time.
Okay.
For example, our national stock exchange might close by 3:30, but Singapore has a derivative on our Nifty index. So they might be running it till maybe 9:30, 10 in the night. I don't know when. No?
Right. Right.
In many ways, you can keep playing for a long time, but it's good to play in a market which is, in daytime,
Right.
within your daytime, so you can have a good, regular, habits where you can exercise in the morning,
Right.
and work and sleep
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. So somewhere it has to fit into your daily routine. Somewhere.
Yeah. See, you should not be doing this at the cost of your health. I mean, nothing should be done at the cost of health and peace of mind. Okay. So now we'll come to what is, now that you're talking about trading versus investing,
Yeah.
as I said, investing, you might put, few lakh rupees on
Right.
some mutual fund, or every month you might say, I want to put 20,000 in SIP, as they call it, systemic investment plan. And by the time I retire, I'll see what happens,
Right.
Now I'm talking about trading. Now, what happens in trading is I need a leverage. I'll tell you what financial leverage. So, for example, if I buy, again, let's take example of Infosys. I don't know what Infosys is nowadays. Let me just see. Okay. Infosys nowadays. Let's take an example of Reliance. I think Reliance nowadays is at 2,000. Yeah. Okay. I don't actually, trade individual stocks. Okay. Reliance is at around 2,400 rupees,
Right.
Now, let's look at investing in Reliance. When Dhirubhai Ambani started in maybe, I don't know, maybe in 1980, you could have bought Reliance, maybe 10 shares. And I believe it might have become 300-400 shares by now.
Right.
At 24. So actually, you might be, sitting on maybe 2.4 crores or 24 lakhs, depending on how much you invested.
Yeah.
Now, okay, now we are talking about trading. Now, I didn't invest Reliance 30 years ago. Okay. Now, I need to know whether I should buy and sell Reliance. Now, if I buy Reliance, let's say 2,400 rupees, let's say today, and it becomes 2,450 tomorrow, and I want to sell, what am I making? 50 rupees on 2,400.
Right.
That's a very, very small percentage.
Okay. Correct.
Now, where futures come in is, the futures is a derivative contract based on the underlying share. Derivative is something that based on underlying. So you can have a derivative contract, on commodity, like, fine oil or soya oil or gold. Okay. You can have a futures contract on Reliance. You can have future contracts on BSE index, NSE index. Okay. So what that derivative means is, let's say when I buy a Reliance future contract, for example, I'm not actually buying Reliance shares at all.
Okay.
The guy who sells me that futures contract is actually giving me a promissory note.
Right.
Okay. Assuming that futures contract is valid till, let's say, this month end.
Right.
It typically closes on last Thursday of the month. Let's not get into those details.
Right.
So he just promises me that if I hold on to my position that I have bought, on that last day, okay, he will deliver me that shares.
Right.
And typically, let's say Reliance lot might be, say, 50 shares. Let's just take an example.
Right.
So now what happens is, if you look at it, if I have to buy 50 shares of Reliance, I might have to buy 2,500 into 50. Is about, I think, maybe 12 lakhs. I think I'm a little bad at multiplication.
Right.
Yeah. So now I don't have 12 lakhs. Okay.
Right.
Now, the derivative contract will allow me to do this at 20% margin.
Okay.
So now I suddenly need 2.4 lakhs
Yeah.
to carry a position of 12 lakhs.
Right.
Okay. So now
Right.
imagine if I get the same 50 rupees, okay,
Right.
I'm actually getting 50 and 5 times that in terms of percentage.
Okay.
50 by
Okay.
2500 into percentage. So
Understood. Yeah.
typically talking about the leverage which allows you to make maybe 2 to 4, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% of your investment.
Mm. Right.
Maybe in a day or in a 2 days, maybe a week. Now, saving account gives you, 4% in a year,
Yeah. Correct.
So
Correct.
this is the leverage that you're talking about. In 2 days you can make 4%, maybe 7, maybe 10. There's no limit.
Yeah.
Someday
Right.
something
Right.
bad could happen also. There's no limit on loss also.
Right. Right.
You
Correct.
could lose
Absolutely.
4% within 1 hour.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it is the financial leverage that you get by futures.
Okay.
Now futures is just a derivative contract. Options is a
Understood.
little more complex.
Right.
In futures, I have the obligation to give it to you.
Right.
And you have a right to ask.
Right.
Option contract, if you buy option from me, okay,
Right.
you have a right to ask me, demand me that the underlying, but you have
Right.
option of not taking it.
Oh, I see.
It's a little complex. I don't think we can
Right. Right. Yeah. Well.
sit
Yeah.
in a short interview, but
Right. Right.
it's a little different. The paybacks are also different. The payouts are different.
Right. Right.
The skills required are different because options, go down as they decay on time.
Right. Right.
As time goes, they decay. So
Right.
anyway,
Right.
we'll
Sure.
not
Sure.
get into
Sure.
that.
Right. So, if I am a youngster who has this, who's toying with the thoughts of getting into professional being a professional investor or a trader, then what should my qualifications be? If I do engineering, I become an engineer. If I do MBBS, I become a doctor. So, what should I do to prepare myself? Prepare myself to be a good investor, or there is no college or institution which teaches
No.
you this, right?
Nowadays there are.
Okay.
They will tell you the theory. They won't tell you how to actually make money. In fact, lots of
correct.
people lots of technical gurus are making money these days. Charging you
Right.
50,000, 70,000 for a course.
I see.
Nothing wrong. In the sense you will actually understand the basics,
Right. Right.
but doesn't guarantee you anything.
Right. So
In fact, I had a boss once. So he told me that his father used to play horse races. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and he used to
Okay.
lose money. Okay, so his son, my boss, did a lot of theoretical grounding in horse races. And he's still losing money. So, those courses
Okay.
will give you a fundamental, basic idea of what stock market is.
Right.
What kind of, if you want to trade, what to look for. See, there is fundamental analysis, there is technical analysis, lot of things will be
Yeah.
taught to
Correct.
you.
Yeah.
But
Right.
finally, I think you have to learn swimming by jumping in the water.
Right.
Nothing
So also-
will teach you. Yeah.
Right. Right.
And you can
also-
learn it by making mistakes.
Right. Right. So, as a youngster, again, what kind of wherewithal should I have? If I have 10,000 rupees in my pocket, can I indulge into it? Do I need to have minimum 2 lakhs? What? Give me some sense of that.
As a hobby.
When can I begin? When can I begin?
Okay, as a hobby, actually you can play with maybe 50,000 rupees also in options market. Okay, but that money will go up pretty soon. So you'll have to reintroduce some capital.
Right.
You certainly can't, even learn at that. Okay, let's put it this way. Okay,
Yeah.
for how shall we go about? Let's say a good engineer today maybe makes say 8 lakhs a year as he starts his career.
Right.
And I'm sure he would have invested say maybe 5-6 lakhs in his training for the 4 years.
Right.
So one is 4 years time period,
Right.
and
Right.
maybe few lakhs or certain number of lakhs. Okay.
Right.
So I think you'll have to spend maybe little more in terms of time and money to really become good at it. Much
Right.
more, in fact. Okay. So
Right.
starting with 5,000, 50,000, it's just a start.
Okay.
If you really,
So,
it might tell you a hobby, whether you can at least understand, get some inkling about it. Actually.
yeah. Okay.
And you have to also understand that you are there to make money and not to get the excitement. You know, just like,
that is. So again, the mindset part. Mindset part.
No, not only mindset. See, you could be the coolest guy, the most philosophical guy. When you sit on the terminal, na, okay, that all goes haywire. I'll tell you the mistakes I have made also. You know,
right.
Today nothing was happening in the market, and you know, my hand, my fingers are itching to press that enter key to buy.
Right.
There's no reason to buy. You know, just because I want that excitement. You know, I want to buy, make money, or even lose money is an excitement.
Right.
So this is also part of the learning that you go through. You know?
Right.
So to learn that there could be days when you need not trade. You know, and in this profession, less is more. Actually, these are some of the problems we face as a middle class, typical professional families. You know, you are told to do hard work, right? You are told work hard and you will succeed. Okay. You have to work hard to understand the market.
Right.
But you know, I mean, trading every day in terms of working hard will actually lead you to repent it quite badly. You have the less you trade, the more money you might make.
Right. So actually, I would like to ask you this question. Like in your own case, shall I say that while you were doing investing and trading, you were also keeping one leg very firm by being a IT professional, right? So is that what you think is necessary? That one leg on the ground?
I don't know. See, it depends on your financial condition. Actually, I was doing both because I love both.
Right.
I love, because if you just sit next to the computer terminal and trade, because it's a very impersonal business. Let's face it that way. Suppose I start a business of selling agarbattis with a jhola. I stand in the market, right? Look at the feedback mechanism also. The feedbacks are so different. I stand there and say agarbatti, Now, pretty soon I'll know whether I am a good seller or the next agarbatti wala is making better sale.
Right.
So I'll know whether people are interested at all. At least in this location. I can see it from the cases, I can judge. Third is, am I selling it on the wrong day? I should sell only maybe one day before Ganpati. A lot of feedback comes from my observing people. Okay.
Right.
Here we are talking about, this is not like a floor trading like old days, everything is computerized. So you're sitting.
Everything is online, yeah.
Yeah, you're just sitting alone with your computer. I mean, if you do this, you lose touch with reality. You lose touch with people. So I did IT because, I do my consulting where I meet a lot of youngsters. We talk of new trends that are developing in the technologies. That gives me, equal pleasure and it's equally my passion. So you should not do it for, but yeah, you could do it for some time to earn money, to sustain the losses you're going to have. Yes, you're going to have losses. As I said, I mean, unless you invest maybe a few lakh or few tens of lakhs, and give it to the market, you're not going to learn. Okay, even after that, you may not learn. So if you are not, come with a silver spoon, and you need to sustain this investment, maybe you should work. But if you work, you may not be able to devote enough time to actually learn.
So probably you have to strike a balance. I mean, if you have to take care of your risk, then probably you do something else also. And strike a balance. There has to be a trade-off.
Yeah, you have to also see what kind of family obligations you have, what kind of family background you have. I mean, imagine if you yourself are used to seeing a check of a few thousands or a few lakhs every month, a month after month, and your next month going to Shimla is based on the check coming for the foreseeable future. And imagine now for maybe months nothing will happen. You will not make any money, you'll lose money. Someday you'll become a millionaire, but that someday comes, much further than what do you think?
What do you expect?
So if you have mentality, as I said, the ability to take those losses, how your family supports you. Is your wife going to be, if you tell your wife that, today I lost 1 lakh.
Right.
And she's going to say, don't worry, Shantanu, let's go out and, go to the mall and have a, stop something. If she is not going to say that and she's going to start crying, I think you better think about it.
Correct. No, it's a very important aspect. It's a very important aspect. So while doing all this, is there any kind of a support system available in terms of brokers or the companies through whom you do all your dealings through them? or do it on your own? What is more beneficial? What would you advise?
See, if you are going to trade, you have to do on your own. Only investing you can do through somebody else, like a mutual fund and all that.
Right.
So trading is you have to do on your own. And today it's all online, so there is nothing like, I mean, you tie up with ISIS, Direct or Zerodha, whatever broker, and you trade.
Right.
So there is no support system. You have your own support. I mean, you can always have a clutch of friends with whom you talk to each other.
Right.
Maybe help each other, support each other. Finally, you have to
Right.
take the call. Don't go and buy something because your friends told you.
Right.
Now you have to learn. You have to, what you call, inculcate that competence. See, it's a skill.
Right. Right.
To some extent, it's a skill. Like, you can be a very good programmer, or you can be a very good, businessman. Like, how to, go to somebody and tell your ideas to him. This is a skill, right?
Right.
So same way, when to buy or sell or not to buy, and not
It's a
to buy
skill that
sell.
you develop. Yeah.
Not to buy sell also is a
develop.
skill. Yeah, you develop that. It
Yeah,
takes
but
years.
I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, also the cliche sixth sense that one talks about. Is there a sixth sense which has to play an important role in this?
To some extent, but I think much more required thing is discipline. I mean, having sixth sense, developing competence is required. Having some kind of discipline is also required. Not, as I said, discipline for not doing when you should not be doing.
Right.
Because most of the money is lost by doing when you should not be doing.
Okay.
Sixth sense is there. See, it's like, there are some maybe few bond traders who might have a sixth sense. But like me, we had to learn the hard way by using logics, looking at, maybe some kind of visual patterns or whatever.
Right. So, also I would like to know if there are any governmental checks and balances and controls, governmental regulatory organizations. Are there anything like that so that you are not kind of taken for a ride or duped by the system?
Yeah, I mean, see, long back, in fact, before futures and options came on NSE, okay, we used to have something called a Bajaj system.
Okay.
On BSE. It was basically contago. I mean, you could carry forward your positions. Yeah, contago. Yeah, you could carry forward your positions. Okay. Now you could carry your positions indefinitely.
Right.
Now that was pretty bad, in the sense, okay, I'll give you an example. Okay. In 93, one of my colleagues bought some shares of a company called Core Parentals. Basically, that IV fluids they used to make. The saline, instead of bottles, they started making those plastic sachets.
Right.
Doing very well, Now he bought, again, I'm telling you hypothetical numbers now. It was 30 years ago. He bought these on a leverage, as I said, in that Bajaj system. He bought it at 1400 rupees. Okay. Then it went to 1300. He said, no, I mean, this is a great company. One day it will go up. Then it went to 12. One day it went to 8. It went to 800. Now he's got whatever, 70%, 60% loss. Now he doesn't want to sell.
Okay.
In this field, there is something very bad called that attachment. He got attached to that share,
Right.
Finally, and he used to talk to me at lunchtime and I was telling him, get out, he didn't. Finally, one day it became almost zero.
Oh, okay.
So that is the big risk. Now that is where the futures contracts come in.
Right.
What the future contract will do is, it will typically be valid for 1 to 3 months.
Right.
Like we are in September, no? Just now September, let's say Nifty, for example, NSE. Nifty September contract will be valid October and November.
Okay.
At the end of that period, assuming I have got September contract, by this month end, whether I get out or not, exchange will close your position.
Right.
So that core parentals 1400, if it had become 1350, by month end, if I don't dare to close, exchange will close. So I think that way, your losses they try to contain your losses. Of course, core parentals 1400 can become zero in one day also, we never know.
Right.
Nobody can help that. But what I call systemic risk, the systems are trying to take care. Plus your broker will also, will be watching your position.
Right.
Let's say you bought something at 1400 and, his systems tell him that the limit is 12. He will close at 12, whether you like it or not. So there are checks and balances coming in. You could still
right,
lose millions in one day, after all those checks and
right.
balances. But
That reality.
but the systems are not making it happen. You know,
Understood.
they call that circuit breakers. Someday NSE falls by 7%, 6%.
Hmm.
Someday it can happen. So,
Right,
but the
right,
systems are there to take care that you won't lose too much. You won't lose too much money as long as
right,
you are not gone mad. I mean.
right. So this profession is kind of widely spread. I mean, there are plenty of people across the globe who are in this profession. So, what do you see as the future trends in terms of maybe technology might come in, maybe new sort of businesses might kick in, new policies might shape, new policies, economic policies of various countries might change certain things in this field. Do you think any of these things are going to impact in future?
I mean, things will keep happening. For example, Indians are allowed to invest in foreign markets, you know, so you could have a wider portfolio if you want. So these things will keep changing. Technology, I think, has already caught up a lot. You're
Okay.
actually talking in real time investment. For
Right,
example, when I buy a future, I get a transaction note which tells me at what minutes and seconds it was bought on National Stock Exchange. Okay,
right,
so it's already become that way. Okay,
right,
so yeah, there could be many more alternate avenues that might come up. Okay,
right,
that's how derivatives of derivatives, and see, these are all exchange traded derivatives as you call it.
right, right, right.
Actually, a lot of banks and all play among themselves based on customized derivatives also, which you and me won't see.
Hmm.
Maybe
Right.
those also might come to the market, but
Oh, I
it's
see.
better. It's better that they don't come because they are highly risky. See, you need to
Right,
be at a certain scale, size, and certain intellectual level, and a certain deep pocket, before you can play that. It's
right,
much safer to do these exchange traded things where the exchange looks after the risk that you are carrying.
right, right. So, what are those final few things that you would like to, advise to the youngsters in a very realistic manner,
Okay.
whether they should take a plunge into this or whether they should think twice, or maybe 10 times, and so some realistic advice for them.
Sure. See, as a hobby, you can always try. Why not? I mean, at least I love to do something new every day. It's not just the stock market, even different sports, different things. And that
Right,
is what life is all about. So, trying something new, there is no harm. Whether you want to get into that as a profession, giving up your job, I think you'll have to develop the competence for that. You'll have to
yeah,
develop the attitude of being able to take losses or being
right,
able to invest for that. Okay.
right,
Time will tell whether you're good at it or not, and you
right,
should
right,
continue or not.
right,
So,
right.
but as I said, see, it's a very scalable profession. Now,
Non exponential, yeah.
why I call this a scalable profession is once I become good at it, okay,
Mm.
it takes me exactly that 2 seconds and pressing the enter key, whether I
Mm.
buy 10 lots or 1,000 lots.
Right.
Okay, so I can actually increase my income exponentially, assuming I'm good.
Mm.
I can lose also
Mm.
exponentially. So it's
Right,
a
right,
scalable profession. Now,
right,
scalable has one big problem.
right.
Let's say one other example of a scalable profession is, let's say, actors, movie actors. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, actually, people think of Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan, and maybe the crores they make. What people say, I mean, not these people, but common people may not. But what the experts know is for every Shah Rukh Khan, there are another 1,000 actors who are waiters and bus conductors.
Right.
Okay. So same thing is true.
Yeah.
Not more than 1% of the traders who start
Yeah.
actually will survive and make money.
Correct.
99% will burn out. Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
again, that's a call you have to take. If you don't mind at least trying, you can try. But chances are that only 1% are going to succeed. Others, I'm
Okay.
talking over long term. You know,
Over a long term, yeah.
over 10 years, if you're still in the market and still having money in the bank, that
Mm.
only 1% people do. So, but that is true of most businesses. I mean, actually,
Right.
you could
True.
start
True.
Apollo Hospital and it may not run at all. Na?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So it's like any other business.
Sure. 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 Thank you. It's been really wonderful interacting with you. I think you've given a lot of insight into some fundamentals of investment and trading. And you also talked some very key points, some of them being, that you need to have a mindset to accept uncertainties.
Yeah.
right? And then you need to control your excitement when
Yeah.
you are investing. And you have to look at losses or gains in a very impersonal and a detached manner, right?
Karmanyavadi Kavasti.
Karmanyavadikaraste. And then you also talked about a very important, crucial factor, that is the family support,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's very, very important. And then you enlightened us with some, how scalable professions differ from non-scalable professions. And so this was all a very, very interesting, information flowing from you. We are really, really very grateful to you, because all these people who are going to watch your interview are going to be very, very wise in taking a decision
Okay.
about getting into this profession. So, on behalf of Viva Life Skills trainers and consultants, thank you very much, Shantanu, for being with us. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Anil. It was my pleasure. Nice talking to you.
All the best to you,
Yeah.
Shantanu.
Bye.